Good evening, everybody. Good morning if you are in the UK or Europe, and good evening in the United States and Canada and all of that area across the other side of the Atlantic. Hope you are having a marvelous Sunday, a marvelous weekend. I'm borrowing Warren Hewitt's terms there. Warren is a very good friend of mine, and he's also a fellow Brit. And he is phenomenally English, and it's very, very cool. When he says, have a marvelous time recording and mixing. I love it. He's a great guy, and we share an interest in cricket. He has one of these on his shelf as well, as do I. But there we go, that's Warren. Warren is a great guy, and the first one in the door tonight was Mika Han. He was an hour and a half ahead of schedule, which is amazing, pretty impressive, and there's a good number of you here already, which is very cool. But yes, as I said, Mika was the first one in the door. I don't know if he's still here, and then Dwayne is here as well, and James Geo, Thomas, Kyle is here, and who else do we have? Loens is here. Loens, good to see you, mate. I've not seen you on my show for a wee while, I think. I'm not sure whether you were here last week. He says, hello, Lipsham Studio homies. Awesome. Thank you very much. And Blue Fox is here as well. He says, hello, all from the States. Awesome. And I think that is it tonight. Who else is here? Oh, Snidely is here. He says, hope you're having a marvelous day. Thank you very much. I have had a very marvelous day. It has been a busy one, but it has been a very satisfying day indeed. I took my family to church this morning, and we had a great time. I was playing piano and Fender Rhodes. Now, I only play in my church's worship band once a month, and on this particular occasion, I decided, hey, let's just take the Rhodes out of the lounge for once, because it sits in the lounge, and we just decided, hey, let's load it into the car and let's take it with us. So we did, and I set it up, and they have one of these. They have one of these clavier Nords like this one here as well. So I was playing piano with one hand and Fender Rhodes with the other. And it just made a glorious, fantastic sound. It was really great fun. And using my MXR phaser pedal, I run the Fender Rhodes through that. And I have done that for years. The first person I saw using a phaser pedal like that on a Fender Rhodes was, surprisingly, not Donald Fagen. It was Billy Joel. I first saw him using a phaser pedal on a Fender Rhodes, and I loved the sound of it. And then I heard Stevie Wonder doing it and Herbie Hancock doing it, and I thought, I've got to get me one of those. So I got me one, and I have it. It's a little bit crackly these days, but it still works, and it sounds awesome. So I had that in my loop as well, and it was great fun. The Fender Rhodes is really, really heavy, so it took all of us to carry it in to the church, but it was great. Let's see. Kyle is asking Snidely about Neil. Is that Neil? Or Nell? Nell. I can't read. You guys are being hilarious about this show being like you're at a cinema, which is amazing. That's very funny, guys. Unfortunately, we don't have cinematic music and we don't have surround sound, which is a bit of a shame. I would like it if OBS did surround sound. They do a lot of things now which they didn't do when I started the show. If you were to go back through my Sunday Night Live archive and go back to my shows from 2017, you will find that they are very noisy sounding. And that is because they didn't have an expander or anything like that natively built into it. So, and of course, at the time, I only had the audio box USB, which meant that, if there was a little bit of hiss in your system or anything like that, which there was at the time, because I was using some cheap low-budget cables at the time, and they generated a little bit of noise. And so, yeah, my early videos, my early shows had a bit of noise in them. But about maybe 18 months ago, I think, OBS did an update and they developed some plugins. So they developed an equalizer, a compressor, and an expander, and a noise suppressor. So there's a whole bunch of plugins that you can just run in like a signal chain in OBS. And it's really, really cool. And as you can tell, the expander works really well because it takes out all the background noise. Like I have my computer here. I have the door open for this show because this computer is getting old and it starts to work a little bit harder to do my shows these days. Plus I have my little laptop here as well for running Chrome, because this computer over here, the main studio computer, struggles to run Studio One, OBS, and Chrome live streaming all at the same time. It just doesn't handle it very well. So I run the show on this. I mean, I've had a couple of weeks where it's worked okay, but for the most part, it just doesn't. So you've got the sound of two fans going on here. And this one, the little laptop is very noisy. The fan on there is very loud. So the expander comes in real handy for that. Let's see who else is here. Billy Morgan is here. He says, good evening, everybody. Which is awesome. Snidely says, I'm having problems with saving to new file in Studio One. Do you have any idea what's going on? I've contacted Persona 6 days ago with no response. So you created a tech support ticket. If you are a member of the Home Studio Trainer support group, I would definitely recommend that you post it in there as well. So what your system specs are and the issue you're having. And if you can make like even if you use your phone to shoot it, maybe shoot a little, 30-second video showing what the problem is. And that will save a lot of back and forth in the comments thread trying to work out exactly what's going on. And there are a lot of really, really, really good people in the Home Studio Trainer support group. We've got just about 4,200 people there now, and they are all amazing, and they will help you. And oftentimes they are faster than tech support. I have a lot of friends at Persona's tech support who are really good friends of mine, and they are very, very good at what they do, but they are also very busy people as well, dealing with a lot of different things, because they don't just deal with Studio One, they deal with universal control, they deal with hardware problems, they deal with just loads and loads of different things, including IT issues, like when the forum server is down, or if the server for all of your My Personas accounts goes a bit wonky. They have to deal with that because they then get loads of support tickets and all of that, and they have to go through every single ticket. So sometimes, taking a few days to get back to you is because they have a lot of tickets to process. And it's not that they are ignoring you, it's that they have to go through the tickets in a certain order, and they get prioritized and divided up and all of that kind of business. So I have a little bit of inside knowledge on how the guys at tech support work, and they are very, very good. And Slide said I gave them a screenshot as well. Well, one of the things we will do when we get to the Q&A section is we will take a look at that. and we'll see what's going on with saving to a new file. Say saving to a new file. Now, do you mean... Let me see. Do you mean, if I go over to Studio One, do you mean when you go to File, and you go Save to New Folder? Is that what you mean? Save to New Folder? Or do you mean Save As or Save New Version or one of those? One of those issues. Save to New Folder, when you do Save to New Folder, it creates it creates a copy of the entire Studio One folder. So everything that you need in it. So the media file folder, the cache folder, the images folder, because you need all of those folders within your song folders. So if you are going to send that to somebody as a zipped folder, it has to have all of those little folders within inside it, because that's where all the audio data is. That's in the media folder. And then the images folder is where all the waveforms are saved. And effects chains and all of that kind of stuff are all saved inside different folders within the song folder. So if you're saving to a new folder, then that's what that does. So you have to make sure that once you've saved to a new folder, just quickly navigate to that folder and make sure that it has everything inside it that it should have, in order to be able to then zip it and send it off to somebody. But if you are wanting to save to a new version, it basically nests the versions within the one song folder, I think is how that works. So I'm not 100% sure what that is. You're saying save to new folder. I get a message saying it can't find the files. Aha! Mika says, save to new folder, save the contents of the folders, not the folder itself. Right, okay. Yeah, that's basically how that works. You get a message saying it can't find the files. So if it can't find the files, that would be possibly because... it could be because the song folder and all the other folders have become disassociated from each other. That's possible, that it's kind of lost connection. That does happen. So you need to make sure that the song folder has everything in it that it should have. The media folder, the cache folder, and all of that I said at the start there. So I hope that helps you. Snidely, my friend. Hope that helps you. Let's see. Okay, I'm just going to keep OBS like that, just in case we have to flip back and forth. Okay, so, where was I? It's a good question. It's a good question. So, where was I? I kind of lost my train of thought. So, Windows 7 goes end of life on Tuesday. For those of you that are not aware, you should all be aware by now. If you are on a Windows platform, Windows 7 goes end of life on Tuesday, which means that Microsoft will no longer support it, which means it's probably going to be pretty vulnerable. So if you are intending to stay on Windows 7, then I would recommend taking your machine offline completely. So don't use it for email, don't use it for internet, and make sure that you have robust security in place. Because here's the thing, Microsoft have announced that Windows 7 is going end of life, which means support and updates and security and all of that will end. And so there are probably, even right now as we speak, some dodgy dodgers who are ready to pounce, and they are waiting for that moment when it goes end of life on Tuesday, and they are waiting to pounce, and they are waiting to get into your system and destroy your computer. There are people out there that are like that. They are those kind of people. So yes, so that is an important thing to be aware of. I'm very aware of it, and I'm going to talk about what I'm doing to deal with that in just a second. It used to work all the time. Okay, so something Something is possibly wrong with that song folder. Mika says you need to create the folder and name it before saving to new folder. Do you? I'm not entirely sure you'd need to actually do that. I think when you do save to new folder, I think it gives you that option. I think when you go save to new folder, this is the current song folder. See, it's got a history of activity. If I was recording anything, you'd have all the other folders here, the media folder and the cache folder and everything else. You're not looking at it because you can't see, because I haven't gone over to it. So when you click, let's just cancel that. When you go file, no, not that one. When you go file, save to new folder, it opens up this dialog box here. And what you'd have to do is, as Mika correctly points out, actually, is you would have to, in this area here, you would have to right click, do new folder, and I think that's how it would work. And then you'd hit save, and it would save a brand new folder in that area. I think that's how that works. I don't use save to new folder. I just don't. The only occasion where I would use that is if I am sending an entire session to another Studio One user, which I rarely do. I have only done that twice. Once to send a session to Dave Vignola, and once to send a session to Jonny Guy. That's it. Those are the only two times I've ever used that, and that was basically just to save it to a new folder so that I could then send the entire session folder off. But that's how that works. Let's see. So, Old School Funk and Soul is here. He says, did you upgrade to Windows 10 yet? I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. Mika says, I spent the good part of an afternoon going through the Studio One Impact drum kits while teaching a DAW student. I do have to say they aren't well assembled, nor are they exciting kits. I beg to differ on the exciting kits thing. I think you're expressing your personal opinion, and you are totally entitled to hold that opinion. I think it depends upon the style of music that you work in as to whether they are going to be of use to you or exciting to you or not. I mean, it's basically all of that stuff is what comes for free. But that's not kind of where it stops. If you were to go to the Presonus shop, there are a whole bunch of other kits you can get for Impact. There's a whole load of stuff there that you can get. And there's just tons of stuff you can get that you can add on to Impact that are well worth getting your hands on. Yep, Mika, you are correct. That is how it works. Old School Funk and Soul says, still haven't had any official support response from Steinberg Cubase about the USB drive / dongle installation. Feel totally despondent about this. Well, I am a former Cubase user. I used Cubase for a very, very long time, and I was pretty much a Steinberg evangelist. I preached the gospel of Cubase and the gospel of Steinberg products for a long time. Until 2013. From about the late 1980s until 2013, that was the message I preached in terms of music production. And then everything that could go wrong with Cubase went wrong, and everything with my relationship with Steinberg that could go wrong did go wrong. And I jumped ship and came over to Studio One. And I have never looked back. Cubase is a great DAW, don't get me wrong. It has a lot of problems with it. Not least of which is the fact that it's pretty much a music production technology history archaeological thing is what it is. Because it has a stratigraphy. Everything is based on its original base code base going back to the 1980s when it kind of grew out of Pro 24. And successive layers of code have been written on top of that with new versions and updates as they have come along over the years, culminating in where we are now with Cubase, which is Cubase 10.5. They all sit on top of the same thing. So the whole thing is massive. It's huge, and it is old. And some of the functionality in 10.5 relies upon code that was written in 1989. So there's a lot of issues with Cubase. And actually, there are a lot of issues with Steinberg support. Now, I'm not here to smack audio production companies around the face with a cricket bat or anything. That's not what I do here. But they aren't very good at supporting their customers, and they are very good at charging their customers a lot of money for all sorts of things. And that was pretty much the main reason why I got out when I did, was because the DAW became hilariously unstable, and I couldn't really work, and support folks kept on saying, it's got to be a problem with your system. It wasn't a problem with my system. I know it wasn't a problem with my system. I had my system thoroughly checked over by a guy who works for the British government as a forensic computer analyst. So he checked over my system. There was nothing wrong with my system at all. The problem was with Cubase. And it went back and forth like that for a while. And you're not looking at me, you're seeing a Studio One screen. So, did I sell my license? No, I did not. I would not wish that upon anybody else, to be really honest. Steinberg, sue me if you wish, but I really would not wish a Cubase license upon anybody. That's just my opinion, born out of my experience after a lot of years of use of their products and their support and everything else. I just wouldn't do it. So I have not sold it. It is sitting in a drawer in that cupboard back there in a box. I still have its original box because back then when I got Cubase, it came with a box with discs. And you loaded one disc and it uploaded to a certain point, and then you had to take that one out and put the next one in. It was like 7 discs, I think, originally when I got it. And then they got it down to kind of, installing off of a flash drive, which is fine. But the thing that they have is they have that stupid dongle. I hate dongles. And that includes the Slate Digital flipping iLock dongle. They are just a bad idea. They take up a slot of your USB slots, and they take up power to your USB bus. And it's just stupid. And I think they should just be done away with completely. My opinion? There you go, you got me grumpy. How did I sell my Cubase license? I didn't, no. Yep. So, anyway. One thing I'm not going to say is I'm not going to use insulting language in the direction of Steinberg. I won't. I will criticize, and I will tell them that their product is bad, and I will use this platform to say, hey, this is a situation that needs addressed. This is a product that doesn't work properly, and really, they should just rewrite the darn thing. New code. That's what they should do. Make it nice, slim, lean, fast. Be a lot better. And get rid of the flipping dongle. Not going to happen, though. So I'm very, very sorry that you wasted your money on getting a Cubase license. Let's see. Mika says, I agree. My 2 cents. I do have many third-party samples / kits that I have. I was showing a frustrated Logic student what a value Studio One represents in ease of use. And it certainly does represent ease of use. Absolutely, for sure. Now, can you compare what you get in Impact out of the box with what you get with Logic out of the box? I don't think you can. And I think the reason for that is because Logic have been in the game for a lot longer than Presonus have. Presonus have come a very long way in 10 years. And initially, Studio One was designed, the idea behind it was, hey, you know, for several years now, we've been selling our award-winning AudioBox USB 2-channel interface device with Cubase elements, I think it was. Or Cubase LE, I think they sold it with Cubase LE. And they were just like, hey, wouldn't it be great if we could sell our products with our own DAW? So that's what they did. And the thing they never really expected was the whole thing would just take off and become this incredible product that we have before us today. This incredible DAW that we have before us today, which beats the pants out of Cubase, frankly. And probably does Pro Tools as well. Mika says you're too much of a gentleman. Well, that's yeah. Okay, I'm British, okay, and I'm Scottish. And as a Scotsman, I swear like a sailor, but I don't do that on this show because I don't think that's very professional. I don't think it's very appropriate to do that, particularly when I'm talking about, other professional colleagues or, other audio companies that are in the business. It's counterproductive and would probably do my reputation more harm than anything else. So that's why I don't really engage in that kind of thing. I'll criticize, but that's about as far as it goes. I'm not gonna swear at them or scream at them. I'll just say, hey, this is stupid. Improve it, and it will be a better product as a result. And that's about as far as I get, really, to be honest. Let's see. Logic for the well-versed user is great value for DAW beginners. It can be a very frustrating experience. Yes, definitely. I used Logic before Apple got their hands on it. And it was clunky, to say the least. Mind you, so is Cubase. Cubase is pretty darn clunky. It's not at all easy to use. It's not at all straightforward. I think the three big DAWs, Pro Tools, Cubase, Logic, are not that easy to use, actually. Things that you want to do are actually quite, basic things that you want to do are actually quite cumbersome in all three. Now, I've not used Pro Tools a lot, but I have used it. I've used it enough to make my own observations as to, okay, that's a little bit more work than it really ought to be, to do certain things. And it still surprises me how it's become the industry standard, DAW. Really does surprise me. But it has. But there you go. Loyan says, I started in computers from hardware using Cakewalk. Oh my gosh, I remember Cakewalk 8. Not mentioning you're a Christian who goes to church. Yeah, exactly. But, there's it's culture here in Scotland. The native culture here is that we are very pragmatic in the way we talk. If I can put it like that. We don't mince our words, we don't beat about the bush. We tell you exactly what we think in very direct and very often very sarcastic terms. And the language may be a little bit choice. That's just the way we are here in Scotland. It is just a cultural thing, my friend. But yes. Yes, I am a member of my church that I've been talking about at the top of the show. Mika says, I have had a large project destroyed with Cubase. Had to let it go. Hard to let it go, sorry. Thanks for the well-reasoned therapy and anger management. You're very welcome. Let's see. Pro Tools is pretty intuitive for me, but I like Studio One better. I think probably with something like Pro Tools, if you use it a lot, and you are, you're very good, you have a very good tactile memory, and you're really good at using keyboard shortcuts, I'm sure it is something you get quick at. I have seen Warren Hewitt do things in routing things in the mixer in Pro Tools very, very quickly. He does it super fast with shortcuts and that kind of thing. But it's still a long way round to get something done. He might be using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 keystrokes to get something done in the mixer to route audio about. Whereas in Studio One, it is just right click and that's it. Right click and that's it. It's like 2 moves. Studio One is incredibly intuitive and incredibly easy to get into with no knowledge of DAWs at all. Doesn't take long at all. And the interesting thing about Studio One is that Matthias Juan, the brains behind Studio One, really, who developed the initial architecture, the initial code base out of a DAW that he was building in his spare time whilst working at Steinberg. He was building his own DAW called Cristal. And essentially, Studio One was built out of the code base and the architecture of Cristal. And it's heavily Cubase influenced. It's not the same as, but it certainly takes some of the better concepts and the better ideas from Cubase and then kind of develops them in a much better way. Makes those concepts easier to use and better and faster to use, frankly. So that's a little bit of potted Studio One history. Mika says, I use Pro Tools, Logic, and Studio One in that order of predominance in the pro realm. I have to deal with what is in place out there. Yeah, absolutely you do. Unfortunately, for the time being, Pro Tools rules the roost. And I got to say, just for a second, interrupting myself, Bobby Booth with the $2 donation. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate every cent of those $2. That is very kind, very generous. Thank you very much. I always see it as a mixing DAW, not a pre-production one. Your thoughts? That's the trad history of Pro Tools. Probably. I would probably agree with that. That Pro Tools. I mean, Pro Tools I think is good for recording and it's good for mixing. It has a funny way of handling MIDI from what I've observed. I've not actually used MIDI in Pro Tools, but it certainly looks a little bit funky, the way it handles MIDI. That said, the way Studio One handles MIDI is completely different. It's not bad, it's good, but it's unique. They have a unique approach to MIDI that I don't think any other DAW is doing, frankly. But that was kind of initial. That all stems from initial design decisions in Studio One version 1. Okay, so I'm going to get to the crux of. I know it's like 36 minutes past, and I've just been ranting at you. Sorry, I've been ranting at you about Cubase. Sorry about that. As I was saying about Windows 7, it goes end of life. So what am I personally doing about that? Because I have been on Windows 7 since 2009, I think. 2009. Yeah, must be about 2009 that I was on Windows 7 at that point. And here we are in January 2020. So what am I doing? Well, my initial plan, I think I spoke to you just before Christmas about this, that my initial plan was I was just going to upgrade this computer to Windows 10. That was my initial plan. I was just going to go out and get Windows 10 Pro and just load it on and reinstall everything. That's what I was going to do. However, this machine is a 5-year-old machine coming up on 6 years old. And it is starting to get slower and slower and slower. And one of the things it started doing recently is basically just restarting itself. And a couple of times, whilst it's been restarting itself, it has restarted itself in the middle of a restart. If you follow me, a little bit complicated. And then when it did that, Windows failed to boot, and I had to manually go and kick Windows up the arse to boot it up. And so I was just like, okay, I think it's time that this wonderful Scan Computers UK 3XS machine, which has worked beautifully for nearly 6 years without a single hitch until just maybe the last 8-10 weeks maybe. I'm going to retire it, and I've gone and bought myself a new computer, which should arrive on Friday, and it comes preloaded with Windows 10 Home Advanced, I think is what they call it, and I will be spending, I think it is, they said it may be on Friday, but it may be sooner than that. I should get a call tomorrow from Scan about that. I have a great relationship with Scan. They are a fantastic company, and as I say, they built this machine that I have here under my desk in 2014, and it's been an absolute workhorse. The most reliable computer I have ever owned. Never crashed. And never failed to do anything that I asked of it. Even when I was pushing it beyond what it was designed to do and put it under some stress, it's been great. So I am retiring it and putting my new machine in. If it arrives on Friday, my plan is that maybe next Sunday's show will be on my laptop entirely, maybe with my phone. A combination of laptop and phone is maybe what I'll do, and it will just be a short 30-minute Q&A show. That all kind of depends upon when the new computer comes. If it comes before Friday, then I will have had time to get everything installed and set up and running, and I'll be able to test OBS, and I'll be able to test Camtasia and stuff. So if it comes early in the week, you may see me going live on my channel and doing some impromptu testing to make sure OBS works and all of that, and make sure I have sound working well. So if you're around and you happen to see me go on at random times of the day, then please do join me. Please do hop on and give me some help on my testing. Tell me what the audio sounds like. Tell me how good the picture looks and all of that. And hopefully with your help, we'll be able to get the whole thing optimized and ready to carry on doing this show on a much faster, much better machine. Let's see. Loins says, I've done hip-hop beats in Pro Tools using MIDI. The editing didn't seem as well. Okay. Mika says, I'm using a 2012 Mac. Upgraded them all with SSDs. They still smoke most PC systems I come across. Not bashing, just my observation. Whatever works is good. I've never been able to afford a Mac. Macs have been, for a long time, out of my price range. Certainly to have a Mac that has the specifications I need to be able to run OBS, Camtasia, and Studio One, and all the things that I need to do to edit my videos and render them and upload them, that kind of thing. Those kind of machines are just well outside of my range. So, what computer have I gone for? That's a great question. Let me see if I can find it, and I'll show you what computer I've gone for. Let me go to my history, and then I'll show you this in just a second, as soon as I can find the last time I looked at it. So I've been doing some tidying up, getting things saved onto an external drive. I think this is it here. No, that's not it. Where is it? Ah, there it is. Okay, I'm going to show you this. Hang on. bear with me 1 second, and I'm going to show you the computer that I have bought, which is great because Old School Soul has just asked me that very question. Hang on, I need to go over to here. All right, so this is the machine that I have gone for. It's called the FAI Silent Door with Intel i7 9700 and 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM. It also has a 500 gig OS SSD and a 1 terabyte SSD as well. Basically, it has no moving parts, so it's entirely silent. If I just scroll down here, and we can get to here I want to go to. No, not there. Here we go. So this gives you a little bit of what we got. So this is the motherboard. I know nothing about motherboards. And we're going for the Intel Core i7 9700 Coffee Lake refresh, octa-core, 3 gigahertz, but it can go up to 4.7 gigahertz via turbo. The CPU cooler is the Silverstone Heligon, whatever that is. 16 gigs of Corsair Vengeance DDR RAM, 2 sticks of 8. Intel HD 630 graphics, Silverstone Nightjar power supply. And then the system drive is this Kingston A2000 SSD. And then the storage drive is Intel 660p M2 PCIe SSD. And as I say, it's Windows 10 Home. It says Windows 10 Home here, but they've told me that they now put Windows 10 Home Advanced on it. But the cool thing is they give me a mouse pad and a mug and a cable tie. Yay! I'm just buying this just for those things at the bottom here. But in the blurb here, it talks a little bit more in detail about the drive. So it's a Kingston 500 M2 NVMe drive. Don't know what the heck that means. And then the second one is an Intel NVMe M2 drive. So that means, and it's also got plenty of space for other. It's got 6 more SATA headers remaining. So basically, I can put in any other future drives. But if I put mechanical drives in there, it will no longer be a silent machine. And the graphics card can support up to 3 monitors. Not that I've got space for 3 monitors, but so there you go. So that's that. Mika says you are going to love the new PC. So happy for you. Save up for more memory down the road. Yes, absolutely. I'm going to do that because it's got lots of additional slots for more sticks of RAM. So I could quite happily go up to another another 16 up to 32, which will help with my video rendering. But I'm going to see how 16 goes to start with, because at the moment I'm rendering videos just fine with 8 gigs of RAM, and on a quad-core i5. Now the quad-core i5, when I'm rendering a video, maxes out the CPU to 100% for the entire duration of the render period, however long that is. Which I would surmise cannot be good for it ultimately. But it does it, and it does it well. Mike Neighbor is here. Good to see you, buddy. He says, remember, guys, the larger the SSD, the more it costs as well. Absolutely. I would invest straight away to 32 gigs. Yeah, I'm going to do that when I can afford it. When I can afford to get a couple more sticks of RAM, I will do. The larger the SSD, the longer its lifespan compared to smaller capacities. Yep. MVM is in a PCI slot on the motherboard. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. That's what that means. Okay, that's good to know. 8 core, yes. Yeah, it's going to be very, very cool. So there you go. So that's the machine. So we will carry on kind of doing this kind of question and answer thing for a little bit longer. I'm going to go back to the the me view. I need to come up with a name for this. I know Jonny calls this the lounge. This view, he calls it the lounge. Well, I don't want to kind of steal his ideas, so I need to come up with a name for this particular view where you're looking at me and you've got kind of like the mixer in the background above and around the edges here. So we need to come up with a name for that rather than lounge. I mean, that's Jonny's thing. I don't want to steal his thunder, and I don't want to keep calling it the me view because I'm not a narcissist and I don't want to come across that way. So give me some ideas of what we could call that. So the other thing I kind of wanted to talk about was, we're just at the start of 2020, and I've got some great ideas for some videos which I'm going to be making and posting on this channel here over the course of this year. I've got a few really good ideas, but I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what you would like me to make, what videos you would like me to make, what things you would like to see me teach on in Studio One. So it could be that you have a particular aspect of music production within Studio One that you would like me to do some videos on. That would be great. Let me know. You can either let me know in the chat, or you can send me an email to johnny@johnnylipshamstudios.co.uk. Or if you are a member of my forum on johnny.lipshamstudios.co.uk, if you're a member there, there isn't at the moment, but there will be. I'm going to create it tonight. I'm going to create a topic space where you can put in your requests for videos to be made for YouTube. I've already got a place there for requests for courses that you would like me to make. I've got some plans for some other courses that I'm going to be making and putting up in my store over the course of this year. So I've already put out my beginner songwriting course and my beginner music theory course. I intend to put out an intermediate version of those two courses in the middle of the year, so kind of like springtime, get those two out as well. So if you're interested in developing your songwriting chops or wanting to learn some more music theory, those two courses, the beginner courses, are already available. They are in the store right now. You can go and get those. And as I say, the intermediate ones will be going out in the springtime. And then hopefully see how uptake of the intermediate course is. If uptake is good, then I will shoot the advanced course, which will take you into some more advanced songwriting techniques, and we'll deal with more complex music concepts in writing our song. And then in the music theory advanced course, we'll go into more advanced harmonic concepts, more advanced structural concepts and ideas, and we will go into some more in-depth study on particular styles of music and form and structure and those kind of things, and how you these days in the 21st century we bring in elements from different cultures such as ragas and talas from India and bring them into contemporary music, and how those work, the theory behind how those work and how you can make those work in a Western music construct. So that'll be the advanced course. So if you're interested in all of those, plus we'll go into jazz harmony and we'll go into extended chromatic 12-tone systems and all of that fun stuff, the stuff that I really, really, really enjoy getting into in terms of music theory. We'll cover some of the stuff that I've heard Adam Neely do on his YouTube channel. I've got my own particular take on those concepts that he teaches on his channel, that I can present as well in that course. So if you're interested in those and you'd like to see those made, and you're a member of the community forum at johnny.lipshamstudios.co.uk, go and post there and let me know what it is you would like me to make. And similarly, if you've got ideas for videos that you would like me to make for YouTube, just to put up on the channel for free, then again, please do. And if you've got like ideas for actual series of videos, then please do post them there. Let's see. I'd love you to create and execute some interesting song structures using the chorus functions of Studio One, please. Yep, I can certainly do some videos on those. An updated 4.6 course would be great. Yep, there are only a few. Wow, far too many F's in the word few there. There are only a few significant things that were added to 4.6. And a lot of it was to do with the fader ports, like the fader port 8 and the fader port 16 and integration with third-party plugins and that kind of thing with the knobs and the faders on the fader ports. I only have the fader port, the single fader one, the black single fader port. So I can't do any of those things. But yes, I intend to, as I have done before, when a new version of Studio One comes out, I do make a series of videos on the key highlight features as far as I'm concerned, my perspective, highlight features that stand out to me. I put those out just like I did for Studio One 3.5 and Studio One 4 and Studio One 4.5. I've got those series on this channel here. Next versions of Studio One, I will continue to do that every time. You can be guaranteed that. Mike says, I wish I had money. I would like to buy the songwriting course. I'll be recovered from Christmas by August. I know how you feel, my friend. Mike, could you do me a favor? Could you drop me a direct message in Facebook and you and I can have a chat about a few things, because I've got some ideas. I got some ideas that I want to run past you. So please do message me at the end of this show and we'll have a wee chat. That would be great. Let's see. Mika says, how much is the advanced course? The course is currently, I can show you my courses. For those of you that don't know, here is my new site, which I launched just about a month ago. If you are not on my email list, now, I'm going to caveat this a little bit. I now have two email lists. I have one which is my old MailChimp email list. And you may all be thinking, yes, I'm on that email list. Well, when I launch this site, I intend to start a new email list. So if you are on my original email list and you've been there for a few years, come over to jonnylipshamstudios.co.uk and click this red button here. What you will have got when you join my original email list is you will have got my compression series and some multitrack files, which are a little bit old now. They're a little, they've been around the park a wee bit. So what I did was I created a brand new compression course, just to update the original one, because the original one was fine, but I'm using a much older version of Studio One. So I thought it's about time I did an update to that free compression course in Studio One 4.5. So that's what I did. I used Studio One 4.5 for that. So it's a brand new course. You also get a completely different set of multitrack files, and as if that wasn't enough free stuff for me to be giving away, just for clicking this red button, you also get access to my forum, which I will show you in just a second if you've not seen it before, because I kind of have just for a second just been talking about that. Fud Firebird with the $5 Australian donation. Thank you, my friend. I very much appreciate that. That is very cool. Thank you. So if you are on my old email list, come over to the new site and click this button and get all the new free stuff. You'll be added to my new list and you'll get access to my free forum as well. And you can go hang out there and all of that. But to answer Mika's question, let's go to my store. And here it is. And at the moment, this is what we have. We have my beginner songwriting course. It's £26, which I'm not sure what the exchange rate is at the moment because it keeps changing. Because both the president of the United States keeps saying something that makes the dollar kind of crash a little bit, and then Prime Minister Boris Johnson says something really stupid, which makes the pound crash. So the pound has been more up and down than a pair of kangaroos in the mating season lately. So it's a little bit hard for me to work out what it is in US dollars. So everything in my website is done in pounds, but you can use Google to do the conversion. And when you do that, it will convert it to whatever the exchange rate is at the point that you convert. So if it's 80 pence to the dollar, which it was last week, then if it's still the same when you do the conversion, that's the rate you'll get. So this is £26. The music theory one, the basics one, is also £26. MIDI drums made easy, volume 1 and 2, I did with Dave Vignola a few years back, and I've reduced these. These originally retailed at the same kind of price, and I reduced these to £16 because they've been out for a while. Dave is still selling those over at Home Recording Made Easy, but I'm also selling it for the first time here on my own store. When you purchase these courses, if you have not already gone and hit the red button on my main page and join my mailing list, you will also get access. When you make a purchase here, you'll also get access to the forum as well. So I'm going to show you the forum. So when you buy any one of my courses, you create an account, and you go to your My Library here. And when you go to My Library here, good night, Kyle. Take care, buddy. Thanks for coming. When you go to your library, I mean, I have everything here because I run the website, so I have all the products. But if you've bought anything, they show up here as well, and then you can view them all. So there's the free compression course. But here's the Jonny Lipsham Studios forum. I'll just quickly show you that before we wrap the show up. And here's the forum. It's a little bit basic at the moment, but it's gonna expand. It's gonna grow as we go, and it will improve. It'll get tarted up eventually. But I've got a subject for each of the courses, and you can post your comments, post your feedback on each one of the products, and tell me what you like about the products and what you'd like to see improved going into the next version of these courses. And then there's the one here to introduce yourself. So if you want to do that, then you just click post here. And as you can see, Mark Corbett has posted. I've been interacting with him. Dwayne, if he's still here, this is his little post here. And then you can go back and course requests. That's what I was talking to you about earlier. If you want to ask for a particular course, Sean Aaron has already asked for a course, and I'm going to like that here. And I think actually Dave Vignola has already done a course on this, I think. But yes. So if you want to request a course to be made, then you can put it in there. I'm going to create another topic for YouTube videos. So you can request your YouTube videos here as well. Or you can email me, as I say, on the main page. And then these are my services that I provide at the moment. If you want one of your mixes critiqued by me, just email me. Just hit this red email me button here, and I charge £30 per song. And what I do is I listen to your song, your mix, and I make a video critiquing the mix, and then I send the video to you. It's an MP3 video. And it's done a little bit like this show in that respect. So you get to see me, and we get to listen to the song and everything else. But I also do custom Skype tutorials as well. So if you want some help with your songwriting or your music production, or you've got some music theory questions that you would like answered, and you would rather do that on a one-to-one basis rather than here on my show, then you can email me and we can set that up via Skype, and it's £35 per hour. And you can block buy. So if you know that you are going to want to have a chunk of several sessions, you can purchase those at a reduced rate. So like I can do a block of 10 sessions, and in each session we can go over whatever is a bugbear with you at that time. And they will be at a reduced rate, not £35 now. So if you book a block of 10, this will get reduced, and we'll talk about that personally. I'll do what rate is good for everybody. So there you go. That's the new site, and those are the courses. Please do go check them out, and please do hit this red button here to get your free course and your free multi-track files and become a member of the little forum that I just showed you there. So if you're happy with that, that would be great if you could do that. I'm just going to go back and see. Mike says, unfortunately, most of us write and record on a computer. Time alignment and pitch correction removed the humanity from music. I think to a degree that is correct. Mika, if you're still here, I hope that answers your question about how much the advanced one is going to be. It will be around about the same kind of price as the beginner course. So £26, whatever that works out to be in US dollars or European, whatever your currency is, wherever you are, that will be the price for the intermediate and the advanced courses going forward through this year. So the intermediate ones will come out in the middle of this year, and then back towards the just before Christmas time, I intend to get the advanced courses out there as well. It kind of depends upon uptake. If you guys really, really want the intermediate course, then it will be made. And if you guys really, really want the advanced course, it will be made as well. So yeah. Let's see. Mike says, I'll make a little time for you. Cool. Kyle is out of here. Bobby Booth is still here. Good. Thomas is still here. Excellent. You guys are all saying goodnight to Kyle. So I hope that answers your question about my courses, and if you want to make requests for videos. I do have a few ideas myself, but really, I want to hear from you guys, because at the end of the day, my channel is here to serve you. It's not about me putting videos out there to get advertising revenue from YouTube. That's not what I'm about. That's kind of a byproduct of having a YouTube channel. But really, that's not what I'm about. What I'm about is creating courses, creating tutorial videos on YouTube, and having a show like this that serve you and answer your questions and meet your needs and deal with the issues that you are dealing with in your music making, your music production, and all of that goes with that. So please do email me, johnny@johnnylipshamstudios.co.uk, or you can hit the email me button as well. You can do that. That's fine. Whichever way you choose to do it would be cool. Just put in the subject either video idea for YouTube, or course idea, or course request, video request, that kind of stuff. And email me those and I will make those videos. I intend to put a new video out every week for the whole of 2020. And as I say, the new courses as well. So that's really the plan for 2020. So if you guys are up for that, I most definitely am very much up for that. I'm very excited about all that's going to happen in 2020. Next Sunday, as I say, depending upon when the new computer arrives and being able to get everything all set up in time, next Sunday may well be a shorter show, just a Q&A with my laptop and my phone if the computer is not set up and ready in time. But if it is, then we'll do this show as is just now. So that's pretty much that. So any more questions? I will take maybe a couple more before we wrap up tonight, because we've just gone past 7 o'clock. And I'm cool with staying up just a little bit longer. I don't mind. I don't mind doing that. I'm going to scroll up and see if I've missed any other video requests. And I don't think I have. Got Mika's question on using the chord track. So let's see. So a smaller crowd tonight, unfortunately. Let's see, what do we peak at? We peaked at 28. That's pretty good. Peaking at 28 is pretty good. It's not bad. I'd like us to get closer to 50 as time goes on. That would be awesome if we could get that far. Let's see, what time is it there, says Loyens? It is 1 a.m. here. And I start the show at midnight here. So for you guys in the Central Time area, it's going to be coming up on 10 past 7. If you are in the Eastern Time area, it will be 10 past 8. If you are in Central Europe, it's going to be 10 past 2, nearly 10 past 2 in the morning. So most of my European folks will be out of here. And it's mostly just me and you folks over in the United States and in Canada and Alaska that are in the show at this point. Or Australia. I do get some folks in watching my show in Australia because it's kind of lunchtime for them. So I do get some folks that come into the show on their lunch breaks, which is awesome because it's midnight for me and it's their lunchtime. So that's always a very cool thing. So yeah, it looks like we don't have any more questions, which is absolutely fine. Thank you very much to Fudd Firebird and to Bobby Booth for their very kind, very generous donations. I appreciate it a lot. You guys are amazing. I thank you very much for being here. And next week, as I say, I have two plans for next week. One is just to use my laptop and my phone to do a short 30-minute Q&A show. But the preferable plan, the plan 2, would be to do a show just like this, but just on my new computer. And if that's the case, I've got a plan for that show as well. So we will have a particular subject that I want to look at. And each of the Sunday night shows are going to feature a particular subject going forward in 2020. So they won't just be kind of a little bit random like this week and last week's have been. They will be much more structured and much more concise going forward. I've been doing this show for a couple of years, but I've only been doing it using OBS for maybe about 18 months. So I'm kind of looking to improve my OBS skills, and hopefully with Windows 10 and the way OBS works in Windows 10, hopefully I can make things a lot smoother for you guys. Let's see. Dwayne says a little after 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Thomas says 9 a.m. here in the Philippines. Yes, of course. It'll be breakfast time for you, won't it? Or you'll be just starting your day, probably. Which is very cool. So a big thank you to all of you guys for coming out to the show tonight and for Thomas this morning. And I very much appreciate it all. And I will see you guys on Wednesday over at Jonny's channel, Home Studio Trainer, for Songwriting Simplified. I say that I'll join you for that. I may well be just on my phone, as I said. It depends on when the new computer comes, to be honest, as to how that works out. So we will see. I'll be talking to Jonny probably tomorrow, my time. So some point tomorrow afternoon, I'll be talking to Jonny and we'll plan a couple of contingency plans for Wednesday and how we're going to do Songwriting Simplified on Wednesday. So it may well be that I'll just be on my phone, in which case that'll be fine. It'll be all right. It'll work just fine. But hopefully, new computer will be in and installed. We'll see. We'll see how quickly Scan can get the computer here. Deirdre says she was here and lurking. She was here late and lurking. Well, thanks very much for coming. As I say, please do go and check out jonnylipshamstudios.co.uk. If you're not on the mailing list, then please do hit the red button, get yourself that free compression course, get yourself those free multitrack files, get yourself access to my community forum. It is awesome, and I'm going to be doing some special things for folks that are members of that forum throughout this year as well. So I'll do a special little Q&A show for them direct inside the forum there. So please do hit that button. Check out the courses as well. If you'd like to purchase the songwriting course or the music theory course, then please do go ahead. If you haven't got MIDI Drums Made Easy, volumes 1 and 2, go ahead and purchase those as well. They are all excellent courses. I'm very proud of those. So until next time, I will bid you all a very, very good night. See you next week, folks. Bye.